Here is my brand new Element RC Enduro24 Sendero. This thing looks super cool. In the box, of course, you get the truck, a transmitter, a charger. The battery should be inside the truck, a couple extra body posts. So just a few basic features. Of course, we've got brushed electronics. The motor is up front here and the ESC is down there in the back. Also, it looks like the battery is held on by these little rubber bands. Actually, let me see. There we go. Comes out nice and easy. Super tiny battery, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. We have metal chassis rails right there. Chassis mounted servo for better looks and performance. Obviously, 4-wheel drive, locked differentials, super squishy tires actually. Quite surprised by that. It actually looks kind of interesting how this whole driveline works. So they've got the motor up here obviously with the transmission, and then they've got a little shaft running down here to a center transmission, which then sends those shafts to those differentials and then to the wheels. So quite complicated. It seems like it might be a little bit more complicated than necessary, but of course it is helpful to have that motor up front for that extra weight up there. It also looks like we've got some lights up here in the bumper, which by the way looks pretty sweet. I like that bumper. I also really like this little body. Just a nice little truck body, looks super cool. I'm gonna get this microscopic battery all charged up and then we can take it out for a test drive. While that's charging, let's take a look at some of the other cool features on this truck. Underneath we have a standard 4-link suspension setup front and rear. These shocks are quite bouncy. Of course there's no oil in there, but they should work. On the inside of the box that it came in, you can also fold this out to make it a garage. There we go. This garage is assembled in some way. As you can see, I kind of destroyed the side of the box right up there. But I think it looks pretty cool. This will just be a nice little thing to throw up on my shelf. Obviously, when you zoom out, it's pretty sick. I like it. It's a nice little spot to store this little truck and make it look super cool while you're doing it. Also, just a quick look at the transmitter for this car. It's quite small, as you can see, but it feels pretty nice. It feels like decent quality. Up top, you've got throttle and steering, dual rates, and trim. It's pretty cool to have all of that on such a tiny little transmitter for a tiny little truck. Also, just for a quick comparison here, here's my SCX24 right next to it, along with my Traxxas TRX4M Bronco right next to it. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit obsessed with these micro crawlers. They're so cool though. I'm planning on making a comparison video between all three of these trucks in the future, so if you'd like to see that video when it comes out, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. The light's out on the charger, which means that the battery is fully charged, so let's get this thing off the charger and throw it in the truck. So I guess we just slide it in here under those little rubber bands and plug him in. The transmitter also requires 4 AAA batteries. This thing has a very torquey motor and is geared quite high, so this will be interesting for crawling. But on the transmitter here, just like on the big Enduro Trail Runner, you have a little knob for throttle dual rate. So basically the throttle dual rate kind of changes the throttle responsiveness. And so if I turn this down, that's better. Then it becomes a lot more manageable. Also, you can see every time I give it throttle, the lights come on, which is super cool. Now all we gotta do is set up some obstacles and test it out. This is a super fun little truck. It crawls pretty well, not as well as my SCX24 does, but then again, it's also not as expensive as my SCX24 and doesn't have any modifications yet, whereas my SCX24 has a whole bunch of them. But it's still a super fun little truck. If you just want a casual crawler for around the house, this truck is going to be perfect for you. It doesn't have a whole lot of torque at lower speeds, so sometimes you have to go full throttle just to make it up an obstacle, but then once you get up on top of that obstacle, you still have the trigger held all the way down because it happens so fast, and then you just jump over the rest of the obstacle. So it's not the best motor in the world, but I'm sure that can be upgraded. If you want to buy one of these trucks or just see a little bit more information about it, I'll put a link to where you can find one in the description of this video, and that will be an affiliate link. So if you do choose to buy this truck from that link, then I will get a very small commission of that purchase, and it doesn't cost anything extra for you. So it's a great way to support this channel and get a cool little truck. I'll have a longer first run video if you want to see more just driving action with this truck up in a couple of days. So if that's up when you're watching this video, you can click right here on the screen for that video. And if not, you can check out some of the other cool videos on my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.